T minus 1 minute. T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Right now in Truth Today, is time running out for the West, for the United States? We're going to be discussing Europe, America, and the Islamic time clock, the doomsday clock. Where are we at in the clock, in the timing of the takeover that is being carried out day by day, systematically? Also, we're going to be discussing the upcoming interview or press conference by President Trump on election integrity. Will we get to the bottom of one of the most critical issues facing our republic, that is the theft of our elections? And Bible prophecy, again, at play, and all of these things happening. We're going to be discussing that and much more right now on Truth Today. Well, good evening, folks. Welcome to Truth Today. Pastor Sharam Hadian here with you. So glad you can join us live in studio tonight. It is 8:08 Eastern Time as we are jumping in here with you guys. Again, as always, so grateful that you take the time out of your schedule to join us live. Even though we archive all of our shows on our Rumble channel, it's still a blessing to be here together live as a community of believers. Appreciate all of your comments that I follow here right here on my laptop with the live chat. A couple of housekeeping items, again, very, very quickly. Please make sure that you visit our website at tilministry.com, tilministry.com, if you want to know more information about our ministry, my background as a former Muslim. If you want us to come and speak in your area, please contact us through the website there to set up something. And we are working right now on our fall schedule. And it will be a busy fall for us. So please let us know if that's something that is of interest in your area. Also, please let us know where you are joining us from. Some of you already have. Let me go through this here. Southern California, we have Newfoundland, Wisconsin, Tennessee. We have, here we go, more Tennessee, lots of Tennessees, California. Welcome. 101, woo, hot in Southern or in Bakersfield, California area. That is very hot cooking. Only like 94 here today in East Tennessee. Welcome from Nashville, Miss Lori. Great to see you guys. Virginia, welcome. Radar 412 from West Virginia. West Tennessee. Thank you, Victory for Jesus. Great to see you. Crossville, welcome. Again, all of you, Baytown, Texas, welcome, all of you. So looks like somebody mentioned the fires. Yes, praying that the fires, the Lord would help those who are suffering every year. It's just incredible. It just seems like these fires are getting worse and worse. The management of them, particularly up when we used to live in Spokane, it was a huge issue, and up in Canada there. So we're praying for those who are affected by the wildfires. Please pray for them and keep them in your prayers, and pray the Lord would protect them and hopefully put these out quickly. Also, tonight, I forgot to mention, of course, on Rumble. Rumble is our main platform. If you are watching us on YouTube and on Facebook, Rumble is our main platform. Please click join to subscribe to our channel, as we're trying to build up our followers that are on our channel there. And if you want to comment, please feel free to comment. And also share. Please like that and share it if you could. That helps our views and helps to just get the word out, get other people there. Remember, again, this is a free resource. It's there for you guys. It's available so that you can use it, and it's just a good resource to have as we cover these things. If you have any questions, put them in the comment. Let us know. I will try my best to see if we can answer some of those things. One of you guys mentioned, by the way, the freeze-dried food. Thank you for asking about that, Miss Ruby. It has actually been kind of out of my purview. I will talk to my wife again, because as you guys know, we had a really great situation set up with Thrive Foods, and then they got bought out. And it's probably one of these what my understanding was, one of these globalist companies bought them out because they don't want people to be preparing for the days ahead. They don't want, I believe, independency. I think that was not an accident that happened. Thrive was one of the biggest companies out there that were producing great freeze-dried food. We are working on another company. I will talk to my wife about that again, and thank you guys for bringing that up, reminding us about that. Brandon House uses a different company. I'm not a fan of that company, because the other one, you buy like bulk food. When you talk about your emergency preparation food, it's kind of bulk. They just throw a whole bunch of stuff in. What I loved about Thrive was the fact that you get to pick. You can pick and choose whether you want vegetables, meat, freeze-dried fruit, whatever it was you were getting. You can pick. You can pick the sizes. You can pick how much you want to store of each ones. It was just great food from ground to being frozen faster than any other company. And we were sad that happened. So if anybody else has any suggestions of that, let us know as well. But it's just frustrating that we are moving in this direction where they don't want people to be able to have the ability to be able to prepare for the days that are coming. Okay, let's jump into tonight. We are going to have a hard stop at 9 o'clock Eastern time in 47 minutes because as many of you are mentioning, and I'm going to talk about it, President Trump is supposed to be addressing the nation in regards to election integrity. Now, I want to be honest with you. I'm not getting my hopes up. There's lots of speculation about what he's going to reveal, particularly in the state of Georgia, because there was some speculation that he was going to reveal that the two Senate races, the runoff races, right at the tail end of 2020, early 2021, the Ossoff and the radical guy that claimed to be a pastor. His name will come to me in a minute. That there was some speculation that he's going to show evidence that their election had issues. The media is all over this. They're trying to really, they're like, why can't Trump let this go? If you followed our ministry, that one of the reasons we were deplatformed off of YouTube was because we were calling attention to the election fraud. I was in 2021. I was in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, when Mike Lindell had the cyber symposium on the election fraud, and a plethora of evidence that was offered there, showing that the elections were indeed tampered with, particularly foreign interference. What I'm curious about is, will the president tonight talk about the Chinese interference and the Iranian interference, particularly the Chinese interference, that they had access to these electronic voting machines. And so, so we'll have a hard break. We'll also allow you guys to be able to, go and watch that if you want at 9 o'clock Eastern time. It's supposed to be at 9 o'clock Eastern time. We'll comment on that next week. We'll see what if anything is there. But we're Dick, as Dick Manaseri, as you're mentioning, this is a good point. Trump is pushing digital IDs very rapidly. That's part of the problem, is that at the same time that we want to have this election integrity and go back to paper ballots, which they are pushing, and obviously the fact that the Senate cannot pass this Save America Act, they refuse to remove the filibuster and do the Save America Act in regards to requiring voter ID, but yet we're moving towards digital ID. And that, again, if you watch my show with Patrick last Thursday, is part of the B system. So in one sense, I had asked Patrick that question last week. Do you think that under Trump, we've slowed things down towards that B system? Are we neutral or are we accelerated? He said, absolutely accelerated. So in some ways, yes, they're trying to come to the end of this election integrity or expose this election integrity stuff. But at the same time, it is, in some ways, this is moving very quickly towards that technocratic framework that we talked about last week. So Genie65, thank you so much. Thrivalist.com has freeze-dried food. Okay, we'll look into that one and see, because what we wanted to do was work with a company that then we can promote here and let you know. By the way, speaking of promoting, I got to let you guys know that I got to remind you again. As many of you know, ivermectin was a game changer in saving lives during COVID. First, it was hydroxychloroquine and then ivermectin, which has been unbelievable. Ivermectin is antiviral, anti-inflammatory. It has a potential anti-cancer functions as well. It's been used to fight cancer among those who are willing to actually go beyond the typical chemo radiation. And as you also may or may not know, most states you can still not get ivermectin over the counter. You have to mail order it. You have to get it from India, the quality. Tennessee is one of the few states that you can get ivermectin. And I'm going to make a little commercial for this, and then we'll put it here. But we have a local compound pharmacist where you can order. In fact, I'll put their website here so that you can, let me create this here real quick. And you can get their information if you go, let me make sure I got that right. And there it is. So if you go to freshdrugs.com, this is the pharmacist that is here locally that we're working with. And if you need ivermectin, what you can do, if you don't want to go through, some Indian source, which you don't know the quality, here in Tennessee, it is over the counter. Here in Tennessee, it is legal. Very few pharmacists will sell it. Even though it's legal, very few pharmacists will carry it. It's predominantly the compound pharmacists that will do it. So big shout out to Fresh Pharmacy here, my good friend Joe. And so go to that website. If you want to order it, all you got to do, listen to these steps. And I'm going to make a little commercial for this. All you got to do is just pay for it. You can get a 30-day supply for you or for your, you can do for each adult. They don't do teenagers, but they do adults or kids, but they do adults. Order your 30-day supply, pay for it, and then put our name on it for pickup if you're out of state. Okay, so they can ship it within the state of Tennessee, but they can't ship it outside the state of Tennessee. But we can as a ministry, because it's a ministry function. We're taking care of people, right? We're trying to keep people alive. We're trying to take care of the sick. It's part of the ministry of Christ, part of the ministry of the church. So if you pay for it and put our name on it, just put TIL Ministry or Sharam Hadian's name on it, then let us know, email us, let us know you order it, and we'll go pick it up and give us a mailing address, and we'll mail it to you overnight if you need it. If it's an emergency, overnight. If it's not, we'll mail it, 2 or 3 days. And then all we ask is maybe go on our website and just make a $10, $15 donation to help cover the shipping and handling in our time. That's it. But we want to be of that service. So again, they're our main supplier. They are incredible there. If you're local, you know them. But FreshDrugs.com. Check it out. And that's one of the things we're doing. But thank you for this link for the freeze dried. We'll get on top of that again, and it's time that we start preparing for that, especially as the November elections are coming up, and we know that this war with Iran is accelerating. We talked about this with Annie on Tuesday, that there's a good chance that there's going to be more increased violence on American streets, more unrest, upending of civility, especially if this thing with Iran actually does accelerate to the potential of ground troops on the ground in order to get their nuclear materials, which is what they're claiming. But again, go watch the show on Tuesday. We talked about all the strategy there with Iran, what the president should be doing, what the president, the White House should be doing with Iran, not what they're doing now. But tonight, let's talk about this timing of where we're at. And I want to talk about, is time running out on the West and the US? Europe, America, and the Islamic time clock. So where are we at? I'm going to play a bunch of clips for you tonight of, sharing some stuff that I usually share. Now, you know that our brand new DVD, Battle for America, okay, talks about this Islamic game plan, this red-green axis Islamic game plan. You got to get this into the hands of everybody that you know to wake them up. This is a massive education campaign, and we got to be focused on, changing the verbiage. And one of the things that you got to change is two things. One, when someone tells you Islam is a religion, you tell them, no, absolutely, it is not a religion. It is a governmental political ideology. It is a totalitarian system that is governmental and political. Yes, there's a religious component, but it is not a religion. Number two, when they tell you things like, oh, it's Islamism or radical Islam, no, you tell them Islam is Islam. It is not Islam that is, quote, radical. It is fundamental. When people follow it, they're deemed as being radical, but they're really fundamentalists. When people don't follow it, they're actually apostate. They're lukewarm as a Muslim. The problem is not the people. The problem is the ideology. The ideology is absolutely evil, wicked, vile. And anyway, we're not having any problems on our end, I think. So just check as far as some people said videos. All right, so we're talking about this time clock. Now, here's the time clock that I've covered before. If you've seen any of my presentations, and we've covered this before, the Islamic doomsday clock. I get asked a lot, Sharon, where are we at? Where are we at with regards to America? Where are we at in regards to like Western Europe? Okay, you notice that, we'll go from 1 o'clock. So target, open democratic society, already happening, right? Mass immigration, already happening. Random terror attacks, already happening. Create Muslim enclaves, already happening. Obviously in spades in Western Europe and in America. Demand special privileges, already been happening for years. Infiltrate councils and target seats in government, already happening, right? Obviously, with the election of Mamdani, right, that was the largest, the most well-known infiltration, but it's been happening in other areas like in Minnesota, Michigan, Texas for years. Look at number 7, assert dominance with tactics like open street praying. We've been seeing this a lot in Western Europe. We see it now in America. I'm going to play a video here for you just in a minute. Create a party of Islam and democracy. This has already happened in 2015 in America, right? In 2015 in America, the Muslim Brotherhood started a political party known as the USCMO, United States Council of Muslim Organizations. It's already happened. So that's already happened, okay? Use Islamophobia laws to suppress free speech. What has Western Europe done? One of the ways that they've shut down patriots in Western Europe is by using these so-called hate speech laws. And that shuts down their ability to be able to say anything about Islam or even these this horrific grooming gangs, rape gangs. 250,000 British young women and girls trafficked, raped, murdered, predominantly by Pakistani, Bangladeshi, African Muslims in the UK. This is a massive cover-up. This is a generational sin that is unbelievable. The report was so graphic, I couldn't even read all of it. It was just that grieving. And so they're doing that, right? And remember, in West Virginia, or I should say not West Virginia, in the state of Virginia, one of the newly elected Muslim legislators wanted to make Islamophobia an actual crime of assault. So if you offend somebody by saying something truthful about Islam, it's now an assault. And so, you know, too bad, we're going to speak our truth. And my good friend who's on here from Minnesota, she's written incredible documents in regards to exposing the Islamic ideology. We've gotten it into the hands of elected officials. A couple of our documents that are on our website, she's had a hand in, particularly the one on 10 Reasons Islam Cannot Be Abrahamic. That's on our website. So we continue to get this information out, and she's actually working on some documents that I'm proofing right now for her on the Muslim Brotherhood, on how Islam's treatment of women. This is going to be really important. Some of you have seen these little booklets that we have. I don't have any on my table right now, but we have a little booklet on like the violent verses of the Quran. We have a little booklet that is a gospel track to Muslims, how to share Christ with Muslims. But they want to put this booklet together that as soon as they get it together, our friend Usama Datak, he publishes it, and then we're going to get that out. And that is going to be fantastic to have for Islam's treatment of women, because we need to get that into the hands of all these stupid feminists and all these liberals and all these, you know, LGBTQ and all these people that are defending Islam, particularly women, leftist women. And we need to get that into their hands and be like, you know, you're a fool. Like, listen, this is how Islam treats women. Talk to women like Andy Cyrus, who we just had on the show on Tuesday, who've come out of Islam, who can tell you how horrific it is in the treatment of women. And then a document working on the Muslim Brotherhood and more details on their roots, their backstory. So these are great things that are in the works. So we're not going to be shut up. We're not going to give in to these Islamophobic quote laws to suppress free speech. So I would argue that America is at least until 9 o'clock. So in the United States, we are at 9 o'clock. Now, some parts of the United States are probably getting closer to 10 o'clock. Obviously, we've seen terror attacks in the United States. We saw 9/11. We've seen many terror attacks, Fort Hood. We've seen, you know, the latest that was in San Antonio, Texas. We've seen many terror attacks. But right now, to be safe, to be conservative, the United States of America is already at 9 o'clock. But look at 10, 11, and 12. Because what's the goal? Establish parallel society, establish Sharia law. Right? So the goal is get to a parallel society at 12 o'clock and establish Sharia law. Well, number 11, provoke a civil war. Okay, so I'm going to play a video for you in just a minute. From Western Europe, from Europe. This is from TBN. And in the past, this guy Dale Hurd has done some good videos on Europe. Now, it's 10 minutes long. We're not going to play the whole thing. We'll probably the first 5 or 6 minutes. But yeah, and Lori, thank you for also letting me know about Bill C-9, right? They passed that in Canada, grieving that they passed Bill C-9 in Canada, which is basically, it has now criminalized Islamophobia, this fake made-up term that doesn't even exist, created by the OIC, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, created by the Muslims. It is non-existent term. There's no such thing in Islam as Islamophobia, okay? But what they're really saying is if you slander Islam, we're going to criminalize you. If you say anything derogatory about Islam or the honor of their so-called prophet, their pedophilic prophet, their murderous prophet, we're going to criminalize you. And that's why Islam is not a religion, and Islam should never be protected under the First Amendment, because you don't have freedom of speech. You don't have freedom of religion, because if you leave Islam like I did, you should be murdered. You should be killed. So there is no freedom of religion in Islam. There's no freedom of speech. And there's no freedom to redress your grievances against your government. You see lots of Muslims protesting their government in Saudi Arabia or in Pakistan, right? Sometimes, but then it doesn't go well for them. How about in Iran? How's that gone for those who protested the government in Iran, right? They get massacred. So this is already happening, but Western Europe is at 11 o'clock. So again, if you're joining us late, the question is time running out on the West and the US to turn this around? Is time running out to push back against this Islamic agenda and turn things around? So that's a good point. Colonel, maybe our government should pass a Christophobia bill. Yeah, except they can attack, Christianity all they want, but you can't supposedly touch this demonic ideology that is Islam. And I'm telling you, folks, it is so demonic. It is such an antichrist spirit. Okay, let's go to this video. Whoops, sorry. I'll get to that in a minute. Let's go to this video because I don't want to run out of time. And we're going to watch this video of what is going on, the latest from Western Europe. Watch. Let me get this set up and make sure audio's off and watch this. Here we go.
May not know, more than 50 million Muslims live in the UK and the European Union. And Islam continues to grow in numbers and influence. Some believe it will soon dominate the continent. And Dale Hurd has the story.
This Muslim call to prayer marks the 100-year anniversary of the opening of the Grand Mosque of Paris. Once the only official mosque in all of France, there are now almost 3,000, with more than 30,000 mosques across the European Union, including one of the newest, the Grand Mosque in Strasbourg. The number of Muslims in Europe and the United Kingdom has grown to more than 50 million, making Islam the fastest growing religion there. After 9/11, political leaders began welcoming large numbers of Muslims into Europe because they thought it could create harmonious multicultural societies. It hasn't worked out that way. Many European cities now are plagued with Muslim no-go zones, areas too dangerous for police to enter. The Dutch asylum minister canceled a visit to an asylum center last week because it was deemed a security risk. There's been a rape epidemic that statistics have tied to migrant men. And in Britain, social unrest over what's been called two-tier policing, preferential treatment for Muslims by police, has led to predictions of civil war. Austrian political scientist Dr. Rolf Schollhammer.
But we already have these signals, the suburbs of Paris, Malmö in Sweden, in Berlin, in Manchester, Liverpool, East London, where parts are controlled by Muslim gangs. Now, there is this attempt to kind of gloss it over and say, oh, no, these are just the birthing pains of the new great multicultural society. But I don't think that's what it is. Where young men are out in the streets and say, we want the caliphate.
The new multicultural societies in Europe and Britain have made it dangerous to be a woman or a Jew. In Brussels, on the one-year anniversary of the October 7th massacre, pro-Hamas demonstrators joined in a public prayer for Allah to burn the Jews. Joel Rubenfeld heads the Belgian League Against Anti-Semitism.
My city, Brussels, looks more and more like Gaza. It's just crazy. It's a tsunami of anti-Semitism. Every Jewish people I speak with in Belgium, they ask to themselves, where will we go?
In Britain, polls show a majority of Jews are considering leaving because of growing anti-Semitic violence.
A trend that was already evident before October 7th has simply metastasized out of control. We have rampant Islamist and leftist extremism in the UK, and perhaps more worrying still, we have authorities which are failing to do anything about it, or if they are acting, it's only acting to appease the extremists. So for a lot of British Jews, now we're starting to question our future here.
Britain is also reeling from a grooming gang scandal in which primarily Pakistani Muslim men raped and trafficked hundreds of thousands of white English girls over more than 10 years, while police and officials look the other way. And in this officially Christian nation, Christians find themselves as second-class citizens because of a system that favors Islam. King Charles recently changed his title in an official document from Defender of the Faith to Protector of the Space for Faith within the multi.
I want to pause there for a second because this is really important. I had not paid attention to this happening by King Charles. So according to my understanding of the way the monarchy works in the UK, going back to Charlemagne, the time of Charlemagne, which is after the Battle of Tours in France. From that time, when there was the merger, the role of the king became the protector of the faith, the Christian faith, because obviously the king was supposed to be the head of the church at the same time, correct? So I did not know until I watched this video that he has now officially changed his title to this: protector of the space for faith within the multi-faith nation. So what are they talking about? He's now going to protect multi-faith. Okay, this is why we did our DVD, folks, on, where is it? Come on One World Religion Rising. That's why we did our DVD on One World Religion Rising. And we talk about in the One World Religion Rising DVD that this is where we're moving to. This is the great deception of these last days, is now we've gone from this interfaith deception to this multi-faith deception. So where the Queen of England, and you'll see this in a video, was a staunch defender, she saw herself as a staunch defender of the Christian faith because they were supposed to be the head of the church. Now he is going to be the defender of multi-faith. What an embarrassment. What a shame. And this is why, and some of us on here know this. This is why we believe that Charles has potentially been converted to Islam. There are some who believe that he's actually converted to Islam. And that's why some people thought that he could be the Antichrist, that he was a candidate for the Antichrist. But at the minimum, again, they're opening the door for this. So let me go back to this and finish just watching another minute or so of this. Here we go.
The faith nation. It means he will now also defend Islam. In an interview with CBN News, Dr. Gavin Ashenden, a pastor in the court of Queen Elizabeth II, accused Charles of breaking his coronation oath and says the late Queen, who was a devout Christian, would consider Charles' reign a disaster.
I don't think she'd be very impressed by Charles's downgrading Christianity to one of a smorgasbord of faiths. We do need somebody who will protect the faith. We really ought to be able to stand in the public space and tell people what the Bible says or what the church teaches. We'd like to introduce people to Jesus, but to be told that we can't by the police, whilst at the same time Muslims are free to talk about Muhammad or even to be violent in Muhammad's name is a real problem. It's hard not to feel betrayed when the stakes are so high.
Former Muslim and Christian television host Brother Rashid says while Islamic doctrine does not allow for a Christian king like Charles to protect it, Muslims see this as another sign Islam will dominate one day.
Oh, Muslims are happy that Europeans are opening the door for Islam, and that's what they want. And I grew up as a Muslim, and I always dreamed, because that's the mentality I grew up in. We always dreamed that one day we will conquer Rome, we will conquer Europe, we will conquer America, and we will subdue them.
Brother Rashid adds that in Islam, mosques in Christian nations are seen as Muslim territory and act as forward military bases.
It's like a Trojan horse inside Western society, and they wanted to build it so they can claim it for Islam.
Both Brother Rashid and Dr. Scholhammer believe it may already be too late for parts of Western Europe and the United Kingdom. And their future now may have to be a choice between being dominated by Islam or civil war. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
So this is where they're at, right? This is where they're at. So do we just surrender, or is it time for civil war? So again, going back to this clock, that's why I'm saying that Europe, Western Europe, the UK, Germany, France, the Netherlands, Spain, Belgium, Sweden, Norway, Finland, Austria, the Western European nations are at a point of civil war. That's the only option. Of course, the problem is that they're disarmed. They have no way of defending themselves. And their government is siding with the murderers, with the butchers, with the rapists. 50 million Muslims in Europe. 30,000 mosques in Europe. 3,000 in France. Now, America right? We have almost, well, by some estimates, 3,000. They say that, I think that number is closer to 4,000 mosques in America throughout our nation. And New York City, which has completely fallen to Islam with Mamdani, is now at just over 300 mosques in the city of New York with over a 1 million population. The point is that this is what is happening. And yet you saw in this video, the greatest threat is coming from the quote within the church, within those who are claiming that Islam is peaceful and tolerant and it can coexist. And Islam is somehow an Abrahamic faith. Islam is somehow the same as Christianity. And then we have this common ground. And this is the demonic lie. This is the demonic, I say it again. This is the Antichrist demonic lie that not only denies Christ, but it is perverting and clouding the judgment and the discernment of Christians and churches and pastors to understand that Islam is an existential threat to Christianity, to Jews, to the West, to freedom, to liberty, and to the gospel of Jesus Christ. If we're supposed to take the gospel to the ends of the earth, if we're supposed to take the Great Commission to the ends of the earth, which, by the way, now includes having to go through 2 billion Muslims, 2 billion Muslims on the planet, as this report said, fastest growing religion in Western Europe, again, not a religion, and yet they're not prepared. They're not ready. They're not ready for evangelism to Muslims because they're sitting there working on, oh, we're going to have common ground and live together and have harmony and peace and coexist. And no, it's not going to ever work because their agenda, this demonic agenda, will never make peace with the gospel because it is antithetical to the gospel. Antithetical. So this is what we're facing. This is what we're up against. And let me play this clip of a 3-minute clip of these imams and telling you that their biggest problem for all of the, so again, for all of the coexist people, for all the people out there that are, all about coexist this and coexist that and interfaith this and interfaith that, listen to these imams. Listen to their own words. Listen to what this little compilation of what comes out of their mouths. And what they're telling you is the problem. They will never coexist with Christianity when they take over and go to that upper house. They will never coexist with Islam. And we have to understand their words. Here we go. Watch this. Let me get to this here real quick. And play this for you.
The Christians today are open idolaters. They insult Allah. Saying,
by the way, real quick before I play this, notice the comment. I don't know if you can read this. The person that posted this was directly attacking, directly rebuking, directly going against all those right-wing social media, right? All the right-wing social media people that are like, Christ is king, like Candace Owens, that they attack the Jews, they hate the Jews, blame the Jews for everything, and yet they defend Islam. Islam is great. Sharia is not that bad. Blah blah blah, whatever. And this is coming from the replacement theology camp. This is coming from the covenantal theology camp. This is coming from some of the kingdom now folks. But it's also coming from those who are absolute God haters. So let me go back to this. Sorry, and watch the rest of this. Listen to what they say.
that he has a son.
Very first problem I see.
Let me go back to there. Sorry.
Insult Allah.
The Christians.
They insult Allah.
These are the Christians.
Saying that he has a son.
That's what the
Very
Quran
first
says.
problem I see in America. Christianity.
Do not take the Jews and Christians as your close friends.
Fifth
This is
chapter
a
of the
command
Quran.
from Allah.
Let us take these lessons and teach it to our children. Teach them to hate everything about kufr.
Drawing the boundaries when dealing with the enemy, when dealing with the disbeliever. They overtake the disbelievers. يجاهدون في سبيل الله ولا يخافون لومة لائم. They fight in the path of Allah and they do not fear the headlines.
The question they raise is, why do Muslims hate us? Why are Muslims full of hate against the West or Christianity or Judaism or anything. The Quran tells us the truth.
In Islam, we do not resemble the non-Muslims, Jews, Christians, or anybody else. But you know what's the worst thing? Is to resemble someone who's your enemy.
The Christians today are open idolaters.
Okay, so that gives you just a little idea of their words. Okay, again, these are not my words; these are their words, right? Where they're telling you what the problem is in America. The problem they claim is Christianity, or the Jews and the Christians. Well, this is exactly what we've been saying. This is exactly what I've been telling you, is that when Islam gets to this upper hand, or when you hear them talk inside their own mosques in America, these clips are all from imams that are in America. They're telling you, we're not here to coexist. Interfaith is wrong. Christians are kufra, which means filthy, excrement. It actually defines as almost like excrement. The so-called infidel, some translations of the Quran are so lame, they translate it as an infidel, but the term is much stronger. So, and this is what is going on. And then meanwhile, states like Washington State did this last year, California. Here's Senate Assembly Bill 2017 in the state of California right now, authored by Democrats. Look at the Democrats, the stupid, foolish Democrats that are sponsoring this. Existing law designates specific days as holidays in the state. Existing law adopts state holidays as judicial holidays. And they want to then have now two Muslim so-called holidays, Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha, which is at the end of Ramadan, the celebration of what they claim to be the time of Muhammad, sacrificing Ishmael, and then the breaking of the fast. So one has to do with the last day of Ramadan, and one has to do with the celebration of Muhammad, that when he was going to sacrifice Ishmael, not Isaac, and that Allah intervened, supposedly their fake God. So the state of California wants to make these two legal holidays in the state of California, just like Washington State last year did this. Yet Washington State doesn't recognize Easter as an official holiday, doesn't recognize Yom Kippur as an official holiday, but we're going to now make these. So the United States continues through the idiots, through their dhimmis, they're useful idiots, the left and the right, the green and the red axis, right? The green-red axis right here, right? They continue. The left helps the green to continue to take over, take power, like with the Democrat socialists. And this is what they are being given: special privilege, special accommodation, special recognitions. Meanwhile, we mock Christianity, and the Muslims curse Christianity. That is why the very first chapter of the Quran, when they pray this chapter, it is a curse prayer. When it says, "Oh Allah, show us the straight way or the straight path, that we do not go the way of those who have come before us. We want to go the way of those who are blessed, the Muslims, not the way of those who are misguided, the Christians, and those who are cursed, the Jews." They curse the Jews and the Christians in their daily prayers, whether they know it or not. And so their words. Let me show you a couple other videos here of I don't actually know if we have time for this one. Oh, here's the one again in Patterson. I prayed this the other night during my presentation. Just the first, I'm going to just play like a minute of this. This is Patterson, New Jersey again, where the mayor was bragging that they changed the city council, they changed the name of Main Street. They changed the name of their Main Street, a city that has been there for over 200 years. They changed it to Palestine Way. Watch this.
Years ago, when we took that bold step and we renamed Main Street Palestine Way.
You see, it's official. Welcome to Little Palestine.
You're not allowed on the property. You're done.
Can you say why?
Yeah, because it's private property. There. We don't have that reason.
But what?
It's private property. Go outside. Go outside.
So for those who lead America, we want them to read the Quran.
My background, I'm an independent journalist. This is my...
You a Jew? Are you a Zionist? What are you?
Patterson is proud to have the largest Muslim population in the state of New Jersey.
If you go to Men Avenue and Men Street, if you go over there, you'll see this like Ramallah.
So again, just gives you a little glimpse of this video, and if that was not bad enough, folks, here is no, that's not it. That was the murder fought. Well, here is Illinois. Illinois just did this as well. Look at this: erasing America. How leftist Islamic allies use street names to dismantle Western identity, just like they did with the statues, right? Remember when they were tearing down all the statues? So this is in. Let me go to my article here. This is in Bridgeview, Illinois. Another American neighborhood has fallen at the intersection of 87th Street and Harlem Avenue. Local leaders unveiled, quote, Little Palestine Way alongside Wadia al-Fayoumé Way. This was the another act of cultural conquest. So we're watching these things happen. And again, if I go back to my clock, where are we at? Where are we at? That's why I said I think 9 o'clock with some of these cities. 9 o'clock for 9 to 10 o'clock for, I mean, Hamtramck, some would argue Hamtramck, Michigan could be now 12 o'clock because they have the full city council. They have 53%, 4% of the population, and they have the entire city council, mayor's office, police department, Dearborn Heights. Those places, some would argue, is already at 12 o'clock, fully establishing and implementing now Sharia within their laws. They're not openly, speaking on it, but some would argue they're there. Parts of Minnesota, obviously, Minneapolis, Patterson, New Jersey. You have, obviously, New York City, parts of New York City, East Plano, Texas, and Plano, and Richardson, and you have Illinois, you have Colorado, you have California. So this is happening, but time is short. Time is running out. And we have to start demanding. We have to start demanding. Look at this headline. Mamdani intern says electing him was part of holy war and jihad. According to Pamela Geller article, this is Zoran Mamdani's intern, Hadira Arzu Malik, reveals that electing him was all part of a holy war and jihad. Quote, this is all jihad. This is all ibadah. This is all counted by Allah. How committed am I to this? What I'm willing to sacrifice for this noble cause. This is her. She says in an interview on that page. If you go to this article on Geller report, you can watch that. That they're just openly telling you what they're doing. They're openly telling you what they're doing. Meanwhile, we're still dealing with Iran. Again, please go watch the show on Tuesday. And did you guys see these videos that Iran, they're targeting these young people? I was just trying to tell you, they're targeting President Trump. They're targeting Laura Loomer. But I want to show you these videos that they've made using Legos, AI Legos, as they're trying to target a younger audience that is still into these things. Watch, let me share this and watch this here, what the Iranian regime is doing to try to intimidate, threaten those who are sounding the alarm on the Islamic takeover.
You wanted to strike.
Here we go. Let me just get this back real quick.
You wanted to strike. You wanted to smoke.
This is supposed to be Laura Loomer that they're targeting. This was made by the Republic, the Islamic Republic. Somebody within the government made this.
Safe little room, now you stare at the poster like it knows your doom. Bullseye Loomer. Panic online, logged every target to one crossed your line. Graham went down, now you read every sign. Bullseye Loomer. Panic online. You told Israel strike When the mourners convene, turn the funeral into a bombing scene. Cheered every hit from a studio chair till Tehran raised a picture in the air. Wanted regime change, wanted Iran torn. Watching everyone and answered with war. Big war talk from a safe front seat. Now every little shadow got you checking the street. You loved the fire when the fire stayed far. Loved every missile like a riot. You wanted to strike.
So again, this is propaganda from the regime using Legos as they're targeting and trying to influence young people to view America and those who support Israel and quote Zionists as evil. If you go to my Facebook page, you'll see the one that I posted from that they made after the death of Lindsey Graham, where it looks like they're taking responsibility. They have the logo KT in it, which is Kill Trump. And they have this gal that's supposed to be in the ambulance. And she is this Monica gal that in another video that I was on with Brandon the other day, Brandon House, and he played this video, this other video, this Monica gal, according to this AI Lego video, they're claiming that she was infiltrated, that she used to be U.S. military, that she's now supporting the Iranian regime, the IRGC potentially, or their special unit, and that she was infiltrating, and she's working with, she had a file on Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, and that they're activating their drones. So this is where, again, this stuff is not necessarily just a joke. This is a warning. These are they're sort of foretelling what they're doing, and the fact that they had this this Lego video ready to go after Lindsey Graham dies is shocking as far as the timing of it. So for those who are still out there saying, "Oh no, Lindsey Graham's death was just natural, nothing to look at here," I don't know. I don't think it's that easy to do that. So again, folks, we are under full attack. Full attack. Here's another headline, by the way, speaking of Lindsey Graham. Brannon covered this on his show earlier this week. The CIA's heart attack gun, a Cold War weapon for targeting assassinations of all the secrets revealed by the so-called Church Committee of the 1970s. Perhaps none captured imagination as vividly as the heart attack gun. This is back in 1975, where they said they can shoot you with this gun, and it doesn't leave a trace. You can't autopsy it, at least at that time, and it won't leave any trace of a heart attack. So I know that there are people out there saying, you know, he had this aortic dissection, that they, you know, you wouldn't have seen it coming. But the reality is that, like, you think these guys, someone like him was getting regular checkups, would be being monitored, that they had told him he was healthy. And then he comes back from Ukraine, and then within hours he's dead. So we just got to pray that God would expose the truth. God would expose that which is needing to be exposed. And we better wake up, folks. We better wake up. Now we're coming up on 8:58. I want to honor the fact that if some of you want to tune out and go, you know, and watch the Trump press conference. But we are in a battle, folks. Time is running out. Time is running out, and we better wake up, and we better start sounding the alarm, and we got to get bolder, and we got to get louder. This is not a time to shrink back. This is a time to get bolder, louder, stronger, and proactive. Do everything we can in our ability, because look at Western Europe. As you saw in the video, many believe they're past the point of return. Short of an armed civil war, which they're not armed, but here in America, we're not at that point yet. But if we continue to capitulate and give in, we will be. And if we don't stand on the gospel, and we don't stand on biblical truth, and we don't stand on the word of God, and we don't stand on Christ alone, and then we got to also activate the gospel. We got to activate evangelism. We got to activate reaching these Muslims. with the true gospel, not some fake friendship gospel, social gospel, fake gospel, interfaith gospel, common ground gospel, which is all a lie. So again, thank you guys for joining us. Remember, again, if you're on Rumble, please like and share. And yeah, Pookie, thank you for reminding me about that. We obviously believe that our friend Phil Haney was murdered. Nobody believes that Phil Haney's death was a suicide. And so thank you for remembering Phil Haney. Dick, you as well. And as Brandon said, pray for us, because if they're targeting the likes of Laura Loomer openly with these things, then it's not, we're not far down the food chain, so to speak, as far as people like Brandon House or myself or others that are warning and against the regime and also very vocal Christian Zionists, Zionism, biblical Zionism. So please pray for us. Go to rumble.com if you want to click join. And of course, if you want to support our ministry, tillministry.com/forward-donate, tillministry.com/forward/donate. You can make a one-time donation there if you want to support the ministry, either by check or via electronic online. And if you, of course, want to join our Gideon Army of 300, those are the 300 who pray for us, join us on a regular, donate to a regular basis. We're so grateful for every one of you, for all of you. Thank you for joining us tonight. And I will comment Tuesday on what President Trump said. If it's a nothing burger, then it's a nothing burger, and it may be. But if there's something significant, we'll obviously comment on that on Tuesday. But love you all. Have a great weekend. Sunday, I will be on Facebook at around 1 o'clock Eastern for our church service on the covenants of God. If you want to join us, we're still in the Mosaic covenant. That'll be 1 o'clock Eastern time on Facebook, approximately 1 o'clock. Other than that, have a blessed weekend. And remember, again, if you need to get ivermectin, go to freshdrugs.com, order it, pay for it, put our name on it, email us, let us know. We'll mail it to you. And if you need it. God bless you guys. Have a great weekend. And until next time, we'll see you. And may God be glorified in all that we do. Have a great night.